So, in this time of austerity, how much taxpayers' money should really be spent on the arts? We're joined now by Kenneth Tharp, the Chief Executive of the Contemporary Dance Centre, The Place, which today had its Arts Council funding cut by 20%, and also by Dr Steve Davies of the Institute for Economic Affairs. Kenneth Tharp, do you read this as a strategic move to change priorities, as the Arts Council is arguing? Is it simply an ideological thing, or is it, in the end, an economic necessity?
I think it's the last. As far as the Arts Council are concerned, I mean, they've been put in an impossible position, and whatever choices they made in this spending round, they were going to have to make some very, very difficult ones. We know that there were plenty of really good organisations who had exciting plans ahead who weren't supported in this funding round.
Now, the Institute for Economic Affairs would argue that there's a lot more fat in the system, and you could slash that too.
Well, in fact, we'd go further than that. My argument would be that, in fact, the state should not be supporting the arts directly at all. The question is, if people cannot get money for artistic products on a voluntary basis, why should they be able to take that money from other people by force through the taxation system?
So the 5 million people who go to Tate Modern, the 5 million people who go to National Gallery, just take two London examples, make them pay.
They could pay, or those kind of institutions could raise funding in other ways. The point is, why should those people get money from people?
If you talk to those institutions, the lengths to which they go to raise money are absolutely gargantuan.
Indeed. And
so you've now got a pot of money somewhere else. Where is it?
There are a whole range of sources of funding.
Such as?
Well, you could rely upon public subscription. You can rely upon donations
they
from
already
individuals.
do. They have
you can rely upon
membership
fees. The point is this: if you can't get people to support you on a voluntary basis, why should you then have what you want given to you by other people who do not have any say in the matter?
Kenneth Tharp, answer that probing question.
Well, first of all, perhaps Steve and I can have a wonderful chat afterwards about where these hidden pots of money are, because we've spent a long time in the arts looking for them. If they were obvious, we'd be able to tap into them. I think when we come to these kind of arguments, I think we are perhaps facing a more ideological argument. And I think it comes right back to, I think, the beginning of the chain, which is what is our cultural entitlement? I think that begins with young people at school.
What is our cultural entitlement? Any or nothing?
I don't know what that means by a cultural entitlement.
Well, let me take, for example, the Wakefield Theatre, which has old people going in every day or every week for what is effectively a joyous, therapeutic, dramatic experience, and that may well now be cut. Is it their entitlement or not?
It's not an entitlement at somebody else's expense. And also, there's obvious questions raised on that. Why subsidise a theatre, which is a good thing for some people? Why not also not at the same time subsidise, for example, your local pop band or your local restaurant?
A theatre, in many cases, is not just a place where people go at 7:30 in the evening. I mean, if you take The Place, for example, we have a 300-seat theatre, but our building is open 7 days a week, from early in the morning till late at night. Hundreds and thousands of people come through our doors to watch dance and to participate in dance.
Absolutely. There are many very good things being done. To the extent that they are good, people should be prepared to support it. And the point would make is, in fact, the arts are, I do not believe the idea that the British public are a massive, hopeless Philistines who would not be prepared to support these kind of things. All the evidence is that, in fact, there's great popular support for
an unemployed boy in Brixton, an impecunious pensioner in Wakefield.
If they want to go to the arts, if you think
you've got to find the money.
Somebody else
so
is
where do they find the money?
Them.
Tell me where the unemployed young person in Brixton finds the money to go to the theatre, the dance place, or whatever.
He should not necessarily find the money. If somebody thinks it's worth his while for him to go to it, then they can fund him to go there and do it.
This is what we already do in the arts. We've worked so hard over the years in the arts to try and widen the pool of participation, because we have seen time and time again lives transformed and enriched by the experience of the arts. But if we don't continue to have state subsidy, then there's a real danger that this will become.
Well, what will 20% do to you?
For us, it will. It immediately cuts our budget for year by year for the next 3 years by £200,000. That's going to make a significant impact on what we do. We haven't had a chance yet to actually decide in detail what the consequence will be, but we'll do our best to protect the young people who we support, the artists, the emerging artists who need our support as young creative people who are on very low wages, and actually the food chain. So your next Wayne McGregor, your next resident choreographer of the Royal Ballet needs the kind of support that we offer. That's what's at threat.
I can only reiterate my point. I don't see why that support should be put on to people who may have absolutely no interest in the arts. I say a lot of people do,
Right.
but others do not. Why should they pay for it?
I think at least we can say there's unity in this. You don't like what they've done because they've left far too much money in the
Indeed,
system.
yes.
You don't like what they've done because they're going to make it very difficult for you to do what you do. Thank you both very much indeed for coming in.